Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. Here we are in Ueno under some train tracks. We start out with a Yachtmaster, two-tone Yachtmaster with a very interesting dial. To its right, the very same watch, but $10,000 cheaper because the dial is different. Very interesting dial. I love this on the all gold version. If you look at that dial, there are little arrowheads around the indices. Some Explorers, a couple of 39mm Explorers, 36mm Explorers, various prices, various years. A 1675 with an interesting dial, a long E dial. So the E in Rolex, that middle part of the E is as long as the top and the bottom of the E. Beautiful bezel insert worth thousands. Speaking of bezel inserts, this looks like it has an original one. This is a tritium dialed watch, so it has to be a 14060 as opposed to the 14060M, which only came with the Luminova. Crazy price on that. Here's an early Milgauss. You know, it had the lightning second hand, then it lost it, then it got it back. This is when it didn't have it, and prices have been about this for years, so stagnating prices on those Milgausses. Here's Jason's minty Yachtmaster. Now, he was offered a 2021 brand new box and papers Explorer 2 Polar for this. What do you guys think? I told him not to do it. I told him he should hold out for this watch, which is what he's looking for. It's gold, it's got two-tone, it's a big watch. It's more his kind of thing. Jason kind of likes blingy watches. I think a solid gold Sky Dweller is his grail. So I think he would hate the Explorer 2 because it's one of the most utilitarian looking modern Rolex watches. I love the platinum dials of these Yachtmasters. They've gone up a couple thousand in the last couple of years. They're hard to find good examples because usually there's something wrong with the bezel, and oftentimes shops will try to like polish the bezel and they never get it right. So it's a hard watch to buy pre-owned, and it really doesn't wear, you know, like scratches as well as something like this. Both of these Explorer 2s have no holes cases, but the one on the left is a little bit earlier. You can tell because it doesn't have the engraved rehaut. This is probably a late Y, an F, a D, or a Z. They started doing the engraved rehauts on the M's with the Explorer 2. So most M's have the engraved rehaut like this, but most Z's don't. And this is a 2010, so this would also have the 3186 movement, as opposed to the 3185 movement, which the one on the left would have. It makes me wonder about the thought process of the person who reserved the watch. I mean, is it just because the one on the left is probably cheaper or has the cleaner rehaut? I wonder. All right, so these are the same Explorers as before. You can pause the video, check prices. This is a brand new two-tone Datejust. It's got the palm motif dial, fluted bezel, Jubilee bracelet. Now, you can't find this watch here in Japan. You can see there's a premium on it, and there's a premium on this one as well, but not as much. And everything else besides the dials are the same, so I guess the palm motif dial goes for more. Now, there's not much of a premium for this rose gold version. That makes sense. I mean, the dial's not as special. I wouldn't want rose gold. It's got a oyster bracelet. That's a cheaper option, but I'm surprised this that much cheaper. In person, I didn't think the palm motif dial looked that great. I guess the website makes it look a lot better, but that's not surprising. I really like this combination, the smooth bezel, the oyster bracelet. I really like this. I think it's pretty toned down. Of course, I would like it much more if it was all steel. All right, so here's the thing. You could pay more for those modern two-tone Datejusts we saw before, or you could save a buck and get this. This is a discontinued two-tone 36mm Tornograph, and this is a very special watch because it's a Japan-only version. They only made 300 of the black dial versions and 300 of the white dial versions. You can see there's green accents, green date, green second hand, some green text. Now, a good argument could be made that these discontinued Tornographs are going to really become collectible and sought after in years to come. And if that's the case, then this is going to be like an investment on steroids. I mean, just 300 a piece of the different dial colors. If you're just thinking about investment potential, I think you're far better saving a buck and going for this versus those modern two-tone Datejusts we saw earlier. Wow, look at this yellow gold Oyster Quartz day date with a wood dial. You're not going to find another person with one of these on the wrist. To its right, a steel version with the white gold fluted bezel. Not a fan of this dial because if you look below, it doesn't look balanced. The 6 index and the Swiss made just looks off. Now, I think this is a bargain. This is a wide boy. The hands and indices are wide. That's the nickname for this. And it's got an acrylic crystal. It's a 4-digit. The engine turn bezel. really nice. And I think that's a great price, really fair price. I've actually thought about making my way back and seeing if they still have that. Here's another Tornograph, all right? Not quite as special as, a 300 limited edition version, but not nearly as expensive. Very retro look. And then to its right, nice gray dial, date just. And I'm pretty sure this doesn't have the quick set date, which wouldn't bother me at all. I think it's worth it to get that beautiful gray dial. You don't see a lot of gray dial date justs. Of course, the second I say that, another gray dial date just, but the dials are a little bit different. The one before has a border, and I prefer that. They're both tritium dials. Now, this date just has an engine-turned bezel, the one to its right, a blue dial date just, and the engine-turned bezels are kind of retro-looking, they're interesting, and they're not quite as fancy-looking as the fluted bezels. We'll end on these a couple of Oyster Dates. Right here, a really interesting one. I like the gold indices, the gold hands. These are alpha hands, and I don't know what's going on with that dial, if it's a matte dial or a tropical dial. With the Arabic 6 and 9, it's almost got an Explorer look to it. And you can get Rolex stuff here, notepads, wallets. I love all of this stuff. I probably have too much of it right now. And there's a Rolex wallet. And this, of course, is promotional stuff. When you spend a lot of money at the authorized dealer, then you might get one of these. And this is about, what, $300, $250 for a wallet, which is not a bad deal at all. I mean, these are quality wallets, and people spend a lot more on Louis Vuitton wallets and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think I'd be getting notepads or anything like that, but if I were looking for, a new wallet, yeah, not bad. And you can get a handkerchief. I've always wanted a handkerchief, but, well, maybe sometime I'll get one. And while I was taking this footage, Jason popped in. He got a couple of Rolex cleaning cloths and gave me one too. Hey, man, thank you. Guys, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time. About things like the Fat Fours on the Kermit, or rail dials, or tropical dials, or spider dials, or thin frame Explorer 2 dials, or stick dials, or Swiss only dials. So those are a little bit more overt. You can kind of see them. And having a cool nickname is always a bonus. Open 6s, open 9s. That works. That's pretty cool. So yes, it is cool. It is special. It's neat to have an R serial 16700, the first of the first, with that date wheel.